Like and subscribe on the way in the door. People, today I'm going to attempt to explain to the LeBron James fanboys, and not just them, anybody who didn't grow up and experience the 90s, I'm going to attempt to paint a picture of what it was like growing up during the Michael Jordan era. First of all, to say that basketball was part of the culture back then is an understatement. First of all, that's the decade of the Chicago Bulls winning all those championships. That is the decade of the Dream Team when basketball first went global. In the 90s, it was a regular occurrence to see people playing basketball on TV shows. That was a regular occurrence, especially for those of you who were fans of the Martin Show. Martin and his boys regularly went and played basketball. And not to mention, Martin, the show itself, that was part of 90s culture. So for you kids who didn't grow up in that, y'all should just go watch some Martin, because it'll just help you get a feel for what was happening in the 90s. But yeah, so like I was saying, basketball showed up in the TV shows, and in the 90s, the most epic basketball movies were made. I'm gonna list some, but for those of you who grew up in the 90s, if I leave some off, please put them in the comments. But so in the 90s, great basketball movies. Sunset Park was a great basketball movie. The Sixth Man. Now, that was kind of more of a fictional basketball movie, but I used to love that movie. Celtic Pride with Damon Wayans. That was like a comedy, but funny movie. And here we get to some of the more epic movies. White Man Can't Jump. When that movie came out, for you young kids, for you LeBron fans, stans, because I'm trying to educate you and give you a feel for what it was like growing up during the Jordan era. Go and watch the movie. These next three movies that I'm going to name, you should go watch them all. White Man Can't Jump with Woody Harrelson and Wesley Snipes. The next movie, He Got Game, with the man who saved LeBron James' career, Ray Allen, and Denzel Washington. Great basketball movie. Go check it out. And my personal favorite, I think it's the best basketball movie of the 90s, Above the Rim, with Tupac Shakur, Dwayne Martin, Marlon Wayans. What's the other actor? I can't think of him off the top of my head, but he played in the Five Heartbeats and the Temptations movie. Man, what is his name? Can't remember his name off the top of my head. But Above the Rim, to me, is the perfect basketball movie that represents 90s basketball culture, and it being intertwined with the hip hop culture. And I would say, out of all the movies, the people on Above the Rim, they could hoop. So watch that movie. You will enjoy it. But anyway, so yeah, I was trying to paint a picture for what's going on in the 90s. So what else was happening during that time? During the 90s, I would imagine that any city you went to, whether it was the hood or suburbia, any basketball court in that city had games running. By the time work got off and school was out, there were games being run on that court. Sometimes the court would be so packed, you leave that and drive to another court because you knew you wasn't going to get to play that day on that court. The passion behind the basketball. Now, unfortunately, the 90s also was the height of gang culture as well. So it just had this kind of intensity to everything because of that. Like, unfortunately, there was a lot of fights, and unfortunately during the 90s, there was also a lot of shootings that happened during basketball games. And I say a lot, comparatively. There were some courts that you would not want to go to because you knew that was a possibility. But anyway, so for those of you who grew up in the 90s, tell me if you remember this place. This place was called Just for Feet. It was a shoe store. And in most of the shoe stores, there was half-court basketball inside. However, in some cities, at some Just for Feet locations, including one in my city, if you go into the back, outside, in the back of the store, there was a full-court basketball hoop out there. And when I tell you, if y'all remember Just for Feet, let me know in the comments. When I tell you that you could go to Just for Feet anytime and run some full court games. And when I say anytime, I mean any time of day, you could go to Just for Feet and run full court. 3 in the morning, 4 in the morning, 10 in the morning, 3 p.m., 10 o'clock at night. Always games running. And with all these things happening, you can't help look back in hindsight and know that all this stuff was inspired indirectly by Michael Jordan, because he had everyone whipped into a frenzy about basketball. Like, basketball was the thing. Like I said, didn't matter if you were in the hood or suburbia. I ran games in both. And they were always going. And like I said, all this was indirectly sparked by the greatness of Michael Jordan. Be like Mike. When I tell you that so many people were trying to do double clutch shots back then. So many people were trying to do were doing the reverse layup back then because of Mike. Man, there's just more and more memories starting to come back, man. Such a beautiful time in history. I wish that you young kids would have got to experience it. So I'm thinking back to the Just for Feet and running games any time of day. I was playing basketball easily between 4 and 6 times a week, every single week. But another thing, for especially for those who played basketball, tell me if you remember this: the amount of 3-on-3 tournaments that they would have annually. 3-on-3 tournaments where you just sign up. You pick your team. Might be your friends, might be friends of your friends. And you get out there and compete, and you can win your city and go to the semifinals, and then you have to travel to the city where they have the semifinals and then to the finals and so on. Do y'all remember that? For those who grew up during that time. When I tell you young kids that basketball was a part of the culture, it was ingrained in the culture, all indirectly sparked by Michael Jeffrey Jordan, sparked by his greatness. Oh man, I'm trying to think of the words to express how great you have to be to get non-basketball fans interested in watching you play basketball. My mom watched Michael Jordan play. She has not watched LeBron James play. My sister has watched Michael Jordan play. She has not watched LeBron James play. The whirlwind that was Michael Jordan back then, going back to the Tim Grover thing. And this is not really anything to brag about, but it just shows you how much people wanted those Michael Jordan shoes. That yes, during that time, people were getting killed over Jordans. People were getting robbed over Jordans. Fights were being started if you accidentally stepped on someone's Jordans. That was a whirlwind time in basketball that is hard to describe for someone who didn't live in it. And you have to take everything. See, I don't know. I may have to do a few parts to this because I'm trying to give y'all things that you can go familiarize yourself with just so you can get a deeper understanding of what it was like to grow up during that time. When I tell you it was nothing like it, you cannot get it from watching the highlight videos. And as amazed as some of you are by the highlight videos, you cannot get what that feeling was like seeing Be Like Mike on the TV every day, 200 times a day. And don't get it twisted, y'all. It was not the media who made Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan made the media. Michael Jordan made Nike. Nike didn't make Michael Jordan. Michael's greatness sold those shoes. Everyone wanting to play like Mike sold those shoes. Everyone trying to do double clutch shots like Mike sold those shoes. And everyone trying to dunk and do Michael's famous backwards dunk where he kicks his legs out. Everyone was trying to do that dunk. Everyone was trying to do reverse layups. It was a whirlwind time. So yeah, I'm probably gonna do a few videos as I think of things that you guys should go back and check out so you can start to get a glimpse at what it was like growing up during that time. But yeah, so your first homework assignment for you guys who didn't grow up during that time, go watch some Martin Lawrence. Watch White Men Can't Jump. Watch He Got Game with your boy Ray Allen, Denzel Washington. And watch Above the Rim. And, if you actually get to watching it, it would be awesome if you come back to this video here and leave a comment about what you think about those movies. And who knows, maybe I'll do some kind of recap on those movies. But as I think of more things that you should check out to get familiar with, I'll make a video about it and put it out there. But anyway, as you can tell, this has been a great video for me, just reminiscing on this stuff. But you guys, I hope you have a wonderful day. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I will see you guys next time. All right.